Almost what we're describing is sort of two things that seem to be rising to the surface. One is like a deconstruction of like theological ideas, and one almost sounds like it's more like a critique of the church community or culture and doesn't have a ton to do with Jesus. I would say that's kind of what we're saying is not necessarily deconstruction as we are defining it here, a critique of the church and the way that culture has been formed in the church around things like purity and all of this other stuff. Like, to have a genuine critique of that does not necessarily mean you are deconstructing your faith.
Correct. Yes. Yeah, I agree.
And I think that's a really helpful thing to kind of separate.
Yes, and I think you could feel deconstructed.
Totally,
Does that make sense? Because so much of your identity was wrapped up in being part of a social group, and the dissonance you feel deconstructed. You feel ripped apart. You feel like your identity is coming apart. But I think that's a really important distinguishing element, I think, that we're talking, at least in talking about deconstruction in the way that we want to talk about it.
I think it's really important that you said that, Kenna, because I think that at least I experienced being raised in the church to not question.
Right.
And then when I had it, making me feel like I wasn't as faithful.
Like it's shaking your whole faith.
Or I wasn't a good follower of Jesus, or I wasn't a good Christian if I just didn't have faith. And I think it's really important to say that Jesus was a critic.
Yes.
Because it allows us to exist as followers of Jesus and members of the church and have doubt and have questions and have critiques, and recognize that if you have those things, you don't have to disqualify yourself. Because I think that I see that in myself. I think that I've seen that in a lot of other people, that it's just kind of the hush-hush mentality of just like, God, I have a doubt, help me believe.
Yes.
And I think that it's important to recognize that if you have doubts, I mean, not if, when you have doubts, when you have questions, when you have like critiques, that doesn't mean that you're not a good Christian anymore, or that doesn't mean that you're not close to Jesus anymore, or that he doesn't love you as much, or that like you're not as much of a follower as other people are. And I think it's important to say that, because I think that we can call it deconstruction and feel like, well, I can't do this anymore because I just have too many questions. I have too many doubts. And I'd say that I think for people that might be true, for a lot of people actually feeling genuinely like I can't do this anymore. But I think that there's also a different side of it that I hope can be an encouragement, that is that the thing that you feel passionate about, or the thing that you want to critique, or the thing that you want to like enter into, that you think the church is doing wrong, or you think Christians are doing wrong, actually, rather than making it feel like you're unfaithful, that could be an invitation from God to be a part of the thing that he wants to do, meaning you're more faithful.
Yes, that's right.
Meaning you're actually being invited into a way that is more like following Jesus, not less like following Jesus.
So good,
and
Josh.
we have to make that normal in church communities and give space for people to ask questions, and give space for people to like have doubts and wonder. Because sometimes the church leaders need to hear that.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like
Totally.
often the church leaders need to hear those things, not out of like cancel them, but out of like, let's commit to being a better community together and grow together. I think it's important to say that.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, like it, subscribe to our channel, and turn on notifications so you can stay tuned for all of our content.